Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
The Truman Show wasn't just a movie about reality TV. It was prophecy in primetime. A film that predicted social media surveillance, 24/7 entertainment, and audiences watching real people live fake lives. But behind the dome cameras and manufactured emotions, nothing was authentic. Jim Carrey almost had a breakdown. The town was built from scratch. And the movie that warned about media manipulation was filmed like actual reality television. These are 10 unsettling facts about The Truman Show. And buried in the broadcast madness, a prediction so accurate it makes today's social media landscape look like Sea Haven's morning show. 1. The prophetic social media vision. The Truman Show predicted social media obsession 15 years before Facebook existed, imagining a world where audiences would voluntarily watch strangers live their entire lives. Writer Andrew Nichol envisioned 24/7 surveillance entertainment when most people still use dial-up internet and reality TV meant simple game shows. The movie's concept of viewers emotionally invested in someone else's manufactured daily routine perfectly anticipated Instagram stories, YouTube vlogs, and TikTok lifestyle content. Nichol wrote the script imagining how technology might evolve to satisfy humanity's voyeuristic desires and need for authentic connection through artificial means. The film's exploration of parasocial relationships between viewers and performers became reality when millions began following influencers' daily activities with the same devotion Truman's audience showed. The movie's most unsettling prediction wasn't the technology, but human willingness to consume someone else's life as entertainment. 2. Jim Carrey's method, acting crisis. Jim Carrey didn't just play Truman. He experienced genuine paranoia and identity confusion that lasted months after filming ended. Carrey became so immersed in the role that he began questioning his own reality, wondering if cameras were watching his actual life. The actor started noticing coincidences and patterns in his daily routine that seemed too convenient, leading to genuine anxiety about whether his own life was being orchestrated. Carrey's method approach included staying partially in character between takes, maintaining Truman's innocent worldview while surrounded by actors who were essentially lying to him constantly. The psychological pressure of playing someone whose entire existence was fraudulent created real emotional instability that Carrey struggled to shake after production. 3. Seasides' artificial paradise construction. Sea Haven wasn't filmed in an existing town. It was built from scratch using the real planned community of Seaside, Florida, which was designed to look artificially perfect. The production team chose Seaside because its architecture was already unnaturally flawless, with every building designed according to strict aesthetic guidelines that created an idealized American neighborhood. The town's actual residents were temporarily relocated while the production transformed their community into a television studio with hidden cameras and controlled environments. Every detail was modified for filming. Street layouts were adjusted, building facades were altered, and landscapes were manipulated to create perfect camera angles from every direction. 4. The insurance nightmare reality. The production faced genuine insurance and legal challenges because filming involved actual deception of background actors who weren't told they were in a movie. Hundreds of extras were hired as Sea Haven residents without being informed about the film's premise, creating ethical and legal complications about consent and performance rights. The insurance companies had to develop entirely new policies covering the psychological and legal risks of filming a movie about psychological manipulation using actual psychological manipulation. The movie's central premise created real-world ethical dilemmas that forced the industry to examine the boundaries between entertainment and exploitation. The legal complexities reflected the film's themes about consent, privacy, and the ethics of using real people as unwitting entertainment for others' benefit. 5. Ed Harris's obsessive director, preparation. Ed Harris didn't just play Christoph. He became obsessed with television production and surveillance technology to understand the character's godlike control over Truman's world. Harris spent months studying reality TV production, learning about camera placement, editing techniques, and the psychology of audience manipulation that television executives use to create compelling content. The actor researched actual television producers and directors who specialized in documentary and reality programming, understanding how real media professionals justify invasive filming practices. The role required Harris to balance paternal affection with manipulative control, showing how Christof genuinely cared for Truman while completely violating his autonomy. Harris's performance captured the disturbing reality that the most dangerous manipulators often believe they're protecting rather than exploiting their victims. 6. The weather machine spectacle. The dome's weather control wasn't just special effects. It was practical meteorology using real water cannons, wind machines, and atmospheric manipulation that created authentic storms inside controlled environments. The production team consulted with meteorologists and atmospheric scientists to create realistic weather patterns that could be generated artificially without endangering performers or equipment. The technical challenges included creating weather that looked natural on camera while being completely artificial, requiring precise coordination between multiple mechanical systems and safety protocols. The weather effects became a metaphor for Christof's complete control over Truman's environment, showing how even natural phenomena were manufactured for television purposes. The practical weather creation demonstrated the movie's theme about artificial reality being more controllable and profitable than authentic natural experiences. 7. Laura Linney's Steepford performance. Laura Linney's portrayal of Meryl wasn't just acting, it was a psychological study of how advertising and consumer culture corrupt intimate relationships into commercial transactions. Linney researched television commercials and product placement techniques to understand how Meryl would naturally integrate advertising into everyday conversation without seeming artificial. The actress studied the psychology of people who define themselves through consumption and brand loyalty, making Meryl's product placements feel like genuine personality traits rather than obvious advertising. Linney's performance included subtle physical details that suggested Meryl was always on camera, maintaining perfect posture and appearance even during private moments with Truman. The character's inability to separate authentic emotion from performed emotion reflected the movie's themes about how media consumption affects real human relationships. 8. The audience psychology experiment. The film's viewers weren't just characters, they were psychological profiles representing different types of media consumption and parasocial relationship formation. The Truman Show's fictional audience included obsessive fans, casual viewers, and philosophical observers who each related to Truman differently, reflecting real audience diversity in television consumption. The movie explored how different personality types use entertainment to fulfill emotional needs, from lonely people seeking connection to intellectuals analyzing social behavior. The audience scenes were carefully designed to show how media consumption becomes addictive when viewers invest emotionally in someone else's life, rather than developing their own relationships. The film's exploration of viewer psychology anticipated how social media would create similar parasocial relationships between audiences and content creators who share their daily lives. The fictional audience's reactions predicted real behaviors that would emerge when technology made constant surveillance entertainment actually possible through voluntary self-broadcasting. 9. The product placement satire. The movie's exaggerated product placement wasn't just comedy. It was precise satire of how advertising had already begun infiltrating entertainment content in ways audiences barely noticed. The script included intentionally obvious product integration that made viewers aware of how commercial messages were embedded in their own entertainment consumption. Meryl's kitchen advertisements and the show's commercial breaks reflected real television industry practices that prioritized advertising revenue over authentic storytelling or performer welfare. The product placement critique anticipated how social media influencers would later monetize their personal lives through constant brand integration and sponsored content. The movie's advertising satire was so accurate that it influenced actual marketing discussions about the ethics and effectiveness of product placement in entertainment media. The film's commercial criticism proved prophetic when reality TV and social media made product integration even more pervasive and sophisticated than The Truman Show had imagined. 10. The ending's philosophical ambiguity. Truman's final choice to leave Sea Haven wasn't presented as clearly positive. The film deliberately left audiences uncertain whether freedom or security was the better option. The movie's ending avoided simple moral conclusions about whether Truman's escape represented triumph or tragedy. reflecting real ambiguity about privacy, security, and authentic living in modern society. The film questioned whether audiences who cheered Truman's freedom would make the same choice if offered comfortable security versus uncertain independence in their own lives. The ending's philosophical complexity anticipated real debates about privacy versus convenience that would emerge with smartphones, social media, and surveillance technology. The movie refused to condemn Christof or celebrate Truman's choice unambiguously, recognizing that the desire for security and the need for freedom both represent legitimate human needs. The ambiguous ending made The Truman Show a philosophical thought experiment rather than simple entertainment, encouraging viewers to examine their own relationships with media, privacy, and authentic living. The Truman Show wasn't just entertainment, it was a crystal ball that showed us our social media future wrapped in primetime packaging. From prophetic surveillance to psychological breakdowns, this suburban nightmare proved that sometimes the best fiction predicts the worst reality. Hit that subscribe button to escape the algorithm and tell us, would you choose freedom or security? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.